everyone. Adapi sir, today we are going to discuss for microcontroller. Is the microcontroller chip. Then these are the objective for the today we are discuss about microcontroller introduction and major difference between microcontroller, microprocessor IC and microcontroller IC. Application for microcontroller for function of the microcontroller is the microcontroller block diagram for 8048 microcontroller. It's the block diagram. And what is microcontroller? I'll ask about a question. What is microcontroller? A microcontroller is a device that contains most or all blocks of a microprocessor system. All blocks microprocessor system. They also often have additional features. Do you remember that the additional features such as onboard AD converters, serial communication port, timers, comparator, etc. Now again I telling this. What is microcontroller? Microcontroller is a device that contains most or all of the blocks of a microprocessor system. They also often have additional features such as onboard AD converters, serial communication port, timers, comparator, etc. And second one, the major difference between microprocessor IC is the microprocessor IC and microcontroller IC. So this is the microcontroller IC. And number one, microcontroller has internal memory. Microcontroller has internal memory. What are the internal memory? These are the ROM and RAM. Internal memory. And can usually also access external memory. External memory also can be accessed to external memory. But a microprocessor only use external memory. Remember that the microprocessor, earlier we learned about the microprocessor. Microprocessor always use external memory. Again I'll tell this. Microcontroller has internal memory. What are the example? RAM, ROM. Can usually also access to external memory. External memory we can access to external memory. A microprocessor use only external memory. And the one, a microcontroller usually has one or more I/O port. What is it? Microcontroller has one or more I/O port. I/O port means input-output ports. But microprocessor has none. That the microprocessor don't have the I/O for the I/O port. It is on the motherboard, but microcontrol chips always one or more I/O ports for the pin connections. Number C, the instruction set of microcontroller usually smaller. Microcontroller instruction set is usually smaller, always smaller than an equivalent microprocessor. Compared to equivalent microprocessor, that the instruction set is very small. D, microcontroller can have onboard AD converters. Onboard AD converter. I am not mentioning this microprocessor AD converters, but some microcontroller have AD converters. AD converters, timers. Here, this timers also mentioned in this block diagram, and event counter also there. Communication port, so on. Microprocessor doesn't have these. Microprocessor doesn't have these. E, most microcontroller can function stand-alone device. Stand-alone device. That means that the microcontroller must always use photocopiers for the small machineries, use air conditioners for the example. Microprocessor need external IC. Microprocessor need external IC such as EEPROM, erasable programmable read-only memories. Later I will tell the memory lesson. And RAM and external I/O port. Most microcontroller can function stand-alone device. A microprocessor need external IC such as EEPROM, RAM and external port. F, most microcontroller have 4 or 8-bit CPU. Here the CPU also mentioned in this block. It is very important part of the microcontroller, central processing unit. That the microprocessor can range from 4 to 32 bit. That is the difference. These are the major difference between microprocessor IC and microcontroller IC. Next, we're going to learn what are the applications about microcontroller. Microcontroller include this process or functions. Control system of domestic appliances. Control system A, control system of domestic appliances. What are the domestic appliances? You know, washing machines, electric microwave ovens. These are used for microcontroller as a control system. There are various items for the domestic appliances. B, using cash registers, machine machines, photocopiers for the office equipment and supermarket. You know that the cash registers, then the pinching machines that we can use weight, can measure, then the photocopiers. These are such items use microcontroller. C, controller in a computer keyboard. Controller in a computer keyboard. Keyboard also control microcontroller. D, controller in a printer interface or data transfer system modem. Controller in printer interface or data transfer system use microcontroller. E. Signal processing, convert analog signal to digital signal. Signal processing for the the VCR, DVD, the audio, that the analog signal to convert to digital signal. This purpose can be used microcontrollers. F. Telecommunication. Communication can be used serial data transfer, that the serial data optical fiber communication system, that the digital signals, analog signal to convert digital, is serial data transfer system used in telecommunication. G. Speech processing. H. Alarm system. What are the alarm system? For the security alarm system can be used for the microcontroller. I. Part of industrial control system. Modern industry use PLC, programmable logic controller, but some part can be controlled use microcontroller. That is very important one. J. Multiplexing and interfacing, car dashboard instrumentation. Every modern motor vehicle used for the control system, brake and all the functions can be monitored to use microcontroller. These are the application of microcontroller, and I'm going to explain the function of the microcontroller. This is the block diagram of the microcontroller. ROM. This is the ROM. ROM to hold program. ROM hold the program that control operation of the microcontroller. Microcontroller operation can control this ROM. It is inside the microcontroller. And RAM include registers. Stack pointer also used to hold temporary data. Temporary data can be held this RAM. C. Internal data bus. Connect each internal blocks. These are the bidirectional. These are connected to the internal bus. CPU. This is the CPU. Onboard microprocessor. It is a microprocessor on board that interpret and execute the program stored in ROM or external memory. Then this is CPU, onboard microprocessor, internal interpret, execute the program stored in ROM or external memory. E. Clock. Provide necessary timing signal. Delay and count event. Clock. Last one, I/O. These are the I/O, input output. Three I/O port with one directly connected to the internal data bus. Now I am discuss about the microcontroller 8048 microcontroller, that the microcontroller architecture also different other every microcontroller. In this example, these are the internal internal blocks for the 8048 microcontroller. These are the today lesson finish. Goodbye.